Before we begin, I'd like to pay my respects to my teacher, the Most Venerable John May Park, and to Yuhei Kwang Sunim, and to your Sangha. I hope you're all doing well. Today's Dhamma talk is going to cover two things. First, how to tell if a teaching is the true Dhamma. That is it a teaching of the Buddha? And secondly, we're going to explore what I call the core teachings. And if I do my job right, I think you'll see the interrelationship between these two. Now, in order to assist you in recognizing false Dhamma, I like to use what I call the three questions. 1, what is it? 2, is it Buddha Dhamma? And 3, does it work? Okay, let's get a little bit more specific. The first one is, what is the teaching? Or what is it that you're reading that's been attributed to the Buddha? One has to be quite clear what one's being told or what one is reading in order to explore whether it is in fact the true Dhamma. The second one, is it Buddha Dhamma, means is it traceable to the teachings of the Buddha? And we're going to explore how we can verify this. And what we're going to do is trace it to the original teachings of the Buddha, which has been passed on to us through the oral and written tradition. And the question would be, are these teachings authentic? Were they in fact the word of the Buddha? Now, Buddhism expanded throughout Asia, and as it did, it was adapted to the various cultures and belief systems that it encountered. Notice the wealth of data presented in terms of the expansion. Points of departure, dates, the various routes, the regions entered, and now the designation of the main schools, Theravada, Mahayana, and later Vajrayana, or Tibetan Buddhism. Now, these three schools divided and subdivided into various sects. And let me be very clear about something. There are those in the literature that say that these developed into three distinct religions. And here's what's interesting. If you go to any of those three schools and you ask them, what are your core teachings? And we're going to talk about those in a few minutes, exactly what they are. Now, the interesting thing is the core teachings are the same. Not only that, but the interpretations of these teachings are basically the same. They form the fundamental base that we all share through all three schools or various sects of Buddhism. The Buddha intentionally stressed the core teachings, and he taught them over and over again in different ways to different audiences and in accordance with different circumstances. What are the core teachings? I like to call these the Big Six. The first one is the Buddha's law of karma and rebirth. The second is the Four Noble Truths. The third is meditation. The fourth is the five aggregates, and that may not be clear to you now. Don't worry about it. We're going to cover it in the course. And the fifth one is called this and that conditionality. And the sixth and last one is called dependent co-arising. Again, some of these terms may not be very clear to you right now, and that's fine. Now you might say, surely, hey, well, you're not saying that these are all the teachings of the Buddha. Certainly not. What I'm saying is, there are certainly other teachings, and even within these teachings, there are other teachings, and we'll be exposing those as we move on through the course. But these form the Big Six, so to speak. Learn these, and the others will be easier to remember because you'll understand them in the context of the Big Six. I guarantee it. Now, the last question is, do the teachings work? And that, my friend, is your job, and that is called the path. Be well, my friends. Until next time.